us on taking stock, and as promised, now we are turning over to the technicals. Rohit Srivastava is with us for that. Rohit, good evening. Thank you for joining in. It's been a very strong comeback by the Indian market, right? Especially banks. Now, I just want to understand first, looking at the Nifty, do you think this has more momentum and steam, or do you think the rally has run its course?
I definitely think there's more steam because what we've seen this week is a confirmation, at least from the short-term indicators. That is when I look at the short-term rate of change or the momentum of the market, that turned to the buy side. And of course, as you were earlier discussing, that we've crossed over the 20-day moving average for both the indices, which is the Nifty and the Bank Nifty. Now, while doing so on the daily charts, on the weekly charts also, we already had the rate of change turning upwards, at least for the Nifty. For the Bank Nifty, we've seen it come very close to a crossover this week. But the Nifty is confirmed both on the daily and weekly indices. So that gives a clear sense that this trend is up, and I don't think it's done with. It will most probably take out the highs that we saw in April, which means the 98.90 high for Nifty and the 21,900 high for Bank Nifty should get retested.
Okay, so at the minimum, those are levels, Rohit, right? Or do you get a sense that this move could be bigger than that?
No, my sense is this is going to be bigger because, we of course stalled at the 50% retracement mark the last time. So, when you made a higher bottom and started to head higher, most probably you're going to make a higher top. So you're going to go past these highs. These are just going to be the initial levels that we're going to watch. So what you will watch out for next is going to be two things. One is, of course, retracements, and the second is now look at the 20-week average. So we've discussed the 20-day average. We are above that. Now the 20-week average, say for the Nifty, is going to be around 10,330, and for the Bank Nifty, it's going to be around close to the 21,900, 22,000 mark, around the same place. No, in fact, it would be a little higher. So for the Bank Nifty, it would end up being closer to 24,000. So that's very, very far. Now, 24,000 for Bank Nifty would end up being a 50% retracement of the entire decline. Whereas for the Nifty, if we take a 61% retracement because you've already done 50%, then if we take it from the Feb high, it comes to 10,430. And if we take it from the Jan high, from the complete high, then we come to around 10,530. So I would sense that we are going to test the 61% retracement mark, whether it's 10,430 or 10,550. We'll watch out for that. And both of that will coincide now with the weekly averages. So weekly averages are now in the 10,330, 10,550 range. And same with Bank Nifty, the weekly averages are near the 50% retracement mark. So I think that's what we should be looking for, the next set of levels that we will probably go to above what we did in April.
Fair enough. Let's address the global also, Rohit. 2 or 3 most important things, that you're watching out for. I know you track US equity indices, the dollar. How are things shaping up there?
So pretty well. In fact, the first thing which happened, I think, in the first 3 days of the week was that the S&P 500 crossed the 66% retracement mark, which was close to around 3,000. So that, I think, is the first thing which happened. And in that sense, it joins the NASDAQ, which had already done that. The NASDAQ, in fact, the NASDAQ 100 has gone past the 78% mark. It's also filled the gap down that we saw, which had actually developed post the crash, right? So when the crash started, we had a big gap down when the COVID thing really hit the world as a whole. And that gap has been filled, which means the NASDAQ is no more fearing, whatever happened in the past. And now with the S&P past the 66% mark, anybody calling that an intermarket divergence would have to now wait for seeing whether the S&P starts playing catch up with the NASDAQ and then they all continue high. So that's one thing. So we have that easing. The second important part with the dollar is that we always look at the dollar as the risk on risk off indicator, and also one that tells us whether emerging markets or, the reflation trade really hits home. So the dollar index had been very strong in March when the crisis was hitting us, and all the Fed action has done is initially it stalled the dollar from going up, and it was in a range for almost 1.5 months. This week, we actually broke the lower end of the range. We went below the 99 mark, which is basically the trend line of all the lows from April. And breaking that now, I think the dollar index, both on daily and weekly charts, would be below the averages and is trending lower. So that's another sign of, fear going out of the market. So When you look at the dollar, you think of money moving to other asset classes, whether it's emerging markets, whether it's commodities, and that then eases the pressure on currency markets across the world and makes it a much a better trade in terms of the risk on trade.
Okay, Rohit, let's wrap this up with, what in your assessment here for viewers who are watching are the best ways to place this move up, best ways to play this move up that you think is coming in terms of sectors?
So my best allocation is likely to be in the reflation space, which is what happens when the dollar actually starts to go down, which means you get a gain either from metals or from rising prices. So you could get rising agro commodity prices, you could get rising metal prices. So that's one of the main areas that I would focus. The second one would be pharma itself, because pharma has been through a 4-year bear market, which has actually come to an end. So that's another very, very interesting place. We've seen the first rally, which was very strong. So on a 2-month basis, pharma stocks have been the best performers in the market. They've paused a bit, but I think that performance will probably continue. And lastly, I would really want people to go and look at value stocks and value investing, because the mid-cap stocks have been through a 2-year bear market. In fact, so has the auto sector, which you were discussing some time back. All of them peaked in 2018. Even though the Nifty itself appears to have made its all-time high only in Jan of this year, most stocks and sectors actually peaked in 2018. So they've been through a 2-year bear market and are actually available in many cases at very, very low valuation. So, and you don't get these values unless there's bad news, right? So the old saying that buy when there's blood on the street actually fits very much over here, that stocks are available cheap because news is bad. And those are the stocks that you should look at, accumulating from a long-term basis.